There is a kind of man who never seems worried about money, never seems desperate, never seems like he is one bad month away from losing everything. He does not talk about his finances, he does not complain about the economy, he does not post about his hustle or perform his grind for strangers on the internet. But year by year, quietly, almost invisibly, he gets wealthier. While everyone around him is working harder, spending faster, and ending up exactly where they started, this man is compounding. And you want to know what that is? That is not luck. That is not inheritance. That is not some secret only the elite have access to. That is engineered wealth, the kind Machiavelli wrote about by candlelight while kingdoms collapsed around him, the kind most men will never build because they are too busy spending money to look rich instead of moving money to become rich. Today, I'm going to hand you 5 financial principles that will make you untouchable. Not comfortable, not secure, untouchable. And if you stay until the end, you will never see money, time, or your future the same way again. Let us begin. Number 1, the force that is either building your empire or destroying it right now. There is a principle operating in the world at this exact moment, silent, invisible, completely indifferent to your feelings, your intentions, and your excuses. It does not care how hard you work, it does not care how smart you are, it does not negotiate, and it does not sleep. It is called compound interest, and Machiavelli understood its essence centuries before modern finance gave it a name. He watched princes build dynasties not through single dramatic victories, but through small, consistent advantages accumulated over decades. He watched other princes lose everything, not through single catastrophic defeats, but through small, consistent bleeds they were too distracted to notice. He wrote that the man who does not manage what he has today will have nothing left to manage tomorrow. That is compound interest, not just a financial term, a law of the universe. Here's what it actually means. Simple interest means you earn on what you put in. Compound interest means you earn on what you put in and on everything you have already earned. Your money makes money. That money makes more money, over and over, automatically, without asking your permission and without ever stopping. You invest $1, it becomes $1.10. Then that $1.10 earns interest. Then that amount earns interest, on and on, quietly, invisibly, for as long as you let it run. It sounds harmless. It is not harmless. It is the most powerful financial force ever identified by human beings. Albert Einstein looked at this principle and called it the 8th wonder of the world. He then said something that should permanently change the way you think. He said the man who understands compound interest earns it. The man who does not pays it. There are only 2 sides to this blade, and right now, whether you realize it or not, you are standing on one of them.
You did nothing after year 1. You did not work harder. You did not make a single brilliant move. Time did everything. Now here's where it gets brutal. You wait until 35. Same $10,000, same 10%, same discipline, same patience. By 65, you have $170,000. You waited 10 years and it cost you $300,000. Not because you made a bad investment, not because the market failed you, not because life was unfair, simply because you waited. Machiavelli wrote that the prince who delays his preparation is not just losing time, he is transferring his future directly into the hands of the man who started before him. $300,000 did not vanish, it moved to the man who started at 25, to the institution that built its entire empire on the certainty that most men will wait until tomorrow to do what needed to be done yesterday. Every single day, you are not compounding for yourself, you are compounding for someone else. That is not a metaphor, that is mathematics, and mathematics does not care how you feel about it. Number 3, the blade cuts both ways. Now here is the part the banks will never sit across from you and explain clearly, because their entire business model, their marble lobbies, their glass towers, their billion-dollar profits, all of it depends on you never fully grasping this. Compound interest is a blade. It has two edges, and it cuts in both directions with equal precision and equal violence. On one side, it builds your wealth silently and exponentially over time. On the other side, it destroys you the same way if you are carrying debt. Your credit card is not charging you a fee, it is compounding against you. Every month you carry that balance, you owe interest on the interest you already owe. The number grows while you sleep, while you work, while you are living your life completely unaware that a silent force is multiplying your chains in the background. Machiavelli did not write about the world as men wished it was. He wrote about it as it truly operates, and the truth is this: the most efficient way to keep a man poor is not to steal from him loudly, it is to lend to him quietly and let the interest do the work. Debt at compound interest is the most elegant trap ever constructed. Men walk into it willingly. They call it normal. They call it just the way things are. Look at the buildings banks build. Look at the monuments they erect in the centers of every major city on Earth. Understand what funded every single floor of those towers, not the deposits of the wealthy, the compound interest payments of the many, collected quietly every single month for generations. Machiavelli wrote that the man who does not understand how power uses its weapons will eventually be defeated by those exact weapons turned against him. Compound interest is the weapon. You either wield it or it is wielded against you. There is no middle position. There is no neutral ground. Destroy your high-interest debt like your financial life depends on it, because it does. Number 4, the discipline that makes the machine run. Knowing all of this changes nothing without action. Information sitting in your mind without execution is not wisdom, it's just expensive ignorance. What compound interest demands from you is the one thing most men spend their entire lives avoiding. Not brilliance, not timing, not a perfect strategy. Consistency so relentless it almost looks inhuman. Machiavelli did not study dreamers. He did not write about the men who had the best intentions or the most inspiring visions. He studied the men who executed, the princes who sharpened their swords every morning whether or not a battle was coming, the ones who built walls before the enemy arrived, not after, the ones who prepared in silence while their rivals celebrated loudly. You do not wait for the perfect moment to invest. The perfect moment does not exist. It has never existed. It will never exist. Every month you wait for perfect conditions is a month of compounding you surrender permanently and never get back. You invest a fixed amount every single month, without emotion, without watching the news with your stomach in knots, without pulling your money out every time the market drops because you cannot handle the discomfort of short-term loss. When markets fall, your consistent investment buys more for less. When markets rise, everything you already own grows. The consistency is not just a habit, it is the entire strategy. Discipline is not motivation. Motivation is a feeling. It arrives like weather and disappears the same way. Discipline is a decision you make once and then defend with your life every single morning after. The man who invests consistently every month, starting at 22, will accumulate more wealth than the man who invests sporadically starting at 35. Not because he was smarter, not because he was luckier, because he was consistent longer and he let the machine run without interruption. Machiavelli wrote that the man who conquers himself has already conquered half the world before his enemies even open their eyes. The compound interest machine requires only one thing from you. Show up every month without fail and feed it. That is the entire battle, and most men lose it not to catastrophe, but to inconsistency. Stop negotiating with your own weakness. Stop telling yourself you will start when conditions improve. Conditions will not improve on your timeline. Start now with what you have. The machine does not need much, it needs time. And time is the one resource that is leaving, whether you use it or not. Number 5. The mindset that separates builders from consumers. There is a question the wealthy ask when they look at money that the average man never even thinks to ask. The average man looks at money and asks, "What can this buy me today?" The wealthy man looks at the same money and asks, "What can this become in 20 years?" That single shift in thinking is the entire difference between a man who builds and a man who consumes his own future. Machiavelli watched rulers destroy their own kingdoms, not through military defeat, but through consumption. They spent what should have been compounded. They celebrated with resources that should have been reinvested. They funded today's appearance of power at the cost of tomorrow's actual power. And one by one, the men who had been quietly compounding in the background overtook them without a single battle. That $200 purchase is not $200. Compounded at 10% over 30 years, that is $3,500. You are not buying a jacket or a dinner or a weekend you will barely remember. You are spending the future wealth of the man you are supposed to become. When you see every dollar not as what it is worth today, but as what it can silently grow into over decades, your decisions do not just change, your entire relationship with money transforms.
The wealthy are not cheap. They are precise. They know exactly what they are trading every single time they spend. They make that trade consciously, deliberately, with full awareness of the cost. That is not deprivation. That is Machiavellian clarity applied to personal finance. Guard your capital like a prince guards his territory, not out of fear, out of the cold understanding that every dollar you compound today is building a version of yourself that future you will either thank you for or desperately wish you had created. There is a man right now, probably in your city, maybe your age, maybe younger, who understood these principles early. He did not announce it, he did not perform it, he simply started. He fed the machine quietly, consistently, month after month, while everyone around him was spending everything they earned, trying to look like they had already won. He has not won yet, not visibly, but the machine is running, and compound interest does not announce itself until it is already unstoppable. That can be you. It should be you, but only if you stop waiting for the moment that will never arrive and start with the moment that is sitting right in front of you. Machiavelli once wrote that the man who prepares in silence always shocks the world when he finally moves. That is your story now. Not the man who talked about building wealth, the man who actually built it, brick by brick, month by month, in complete silence, while the world was too busy performing to notice. So here's what I need you to do right now. Go to the comments and type the year you are going to start. Not tomorrow, not next month, the year. Write it down, make it real. Because the decision that changes your financial life is never made in perfect conditions. It is made in a moment exactly like this one. If this opened something in your mind today, hit that like button so this reaches another man who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because this is not the last time you will need these words. And turn on notifications so the next time I release something like this, you are the first man to know. This is not content. This is not entertainment. This is a blueprint for the man the financial system was never designed to create. And that man is you. Now close this video, open your investment account, and let the machine begin. The game just changed, and compound interest is the reason why.